Good morning. Good morning, everybody. This is your Suraj Singh speaking from Bharat, India on this day, April 17th, 2021, Saturday. Title of this talk is Civil Field Engineering Designs, Construction Methods, Contracts, EPC, ISO 9000 Structure and Excel, Organizations, Coordination, Communication, and on top of everything is quality. Why should we be behind quality? There's a question in this. Why should we be behind quality? Is question mark here, which is very important question to be considered by everybody. And if you do not consider this, we miss life in it, quality life, because life without quality do not does not mean anything. Lives without quality do not mean anything. Life without quality means nothing. If you don't have any level of quality in your life, it's like you can say animal life, just to eat and sleep. Human is human and must realize this fact. Human is human and must realize what certificates one gets in life, and does one respect that certification. That's also important. Means we get so many certificates in life, do we really care for quality? For example, this is one certificate which tells one should be proficient, one should be expert, one should be working in a way that helps quality standards rise. And also same thing for other certification, and of course same thing for other certification. Are we living only for certificates, or we are doing something great for quality achievement, or we are only interested in quantity? That point is very much you can say very much important and significant for everybody, because life without quality is nothing, it's no meaning. We have to understand that point very clearly, and practically we have to understand this. Quality is not obligation, it's a must. It's the must that we should do, we should believe in, we should be striving for. We should be striving for, we should be struggling for, we should achieve this, just like we achieve for our own. We achieve for our own. I want to get all benefits in life, I want to get all comforts in life, I want to live life smoothly, and this is desired for everybody. Everybody wants money, wealth, proficient certifications, competency certifications, standards of living. Means one wants to get everything. Nobody says I do not want this. It's same thing as you go to some worship place and you pray to God, God give me this, give this benefit, this privilege, this benefit. You demand everything and you expect God to give you. How many people demand that they should struggle in life, they should have knowledge in life, they should serve others in life? I don't think even 0.1% bhakts do that. Everybody is interested in its own. This means they do not seek from God quality levels. They just want existence, beautiful existence, efficient existence, competitive existence. I am giving this example because same thing we do in our lives. Everybody expects to have all facilities in life. All in life should move without causing any issue, any problem. This is everybody's requirement. Nobody says, God, give me something to think, give me some knowledge so that I can serve others, give me some knowledge that I can serve you, your earth, your universe. Everybody wants that whatever I invest today, it should multiply. Okay, that's fine. But one forgets that multiplication is calculation only. If today I make some structure, you consider that. What is that structure? I say I have constructed this house. I spent so much money in that, and this money is going to multiply in coming times. Okay, that's fine. But do we think you are just valuing, multiplication of money? Today is X amount, tomorrow it may be 5x, it may be 10x in coming time, and you feel happy that okay, I spent X and now it is 10x, so I have grown. But do you ever think what has grown? Value of money, or you can say value of your home? In terms of value, in terms of your currency, you feel so that it is increased. But do you think that it's not relative? Is it not deceptive? Your house construction, what you did that time in beginning, and still you are using it, same construction. There's no change in that construction. It's still same. Even after 10 years, 20 years of use, same number of bricks, stones, RCC coefficients, RCC cubic meter, steel tonnage, foundation, and everything. Whatever you did in the structure of that building or other items of that building, quantity remains same. There is no change. Rather, there is depreciation, you may say. What has increased? It is same thing. Means whatever natural material you included in that house, in that building, it still remains same. There is no change in that. But you think that your value has increased. This point I want to emphasize. I was talking to someone. Means after all, what do we know by economy? Just automatic increase in value, you think, is it achievement or is depreciation of your value? Well, I think it's depreciation of value because your currency is affected. That's why value of your property is increasing, but your property plot area, your property contents are same. Even after 20-30 years is same, but you say that time it was so much, now it is that much. That is, you can say, devaluation of your currency. It means that simple. You think that devaluation is giving you richness, which is fake, which is imaginary. Still you are happy. So be happy, there's no problem. If this gives you some kind of fictitious happiness, you can be happy. But where is quality then? Where is quality in estimation of your approach? You are estimating that my house is this much and your kids are happy. My father built crores of this property for me. That is what I say. In relation to terminology, you're happy, but don't forget its quality, whatever was inducted in beginning remains same. Its design, whatever inducted remains same, no change. And whatever construction was done, qualitative or non-qualitative, it also remains same. There is no cost increase, practically speaking. There is, of course, risk is there still, and reliability is still same. So what analysis you are doing? You say my property has increased in value. Actually, it has decreased in value. If you analyze properly, you will find that. Means the always thinking is required. So engineering has both meanings. Yes, valuation subject of engineering can say, alright, your value has increased this much, congratulations. And also it says that you have used this building for so many years. There is depreciation in its materials due to hysteresis loss, due to use of stress, and due to properties of material. We have to take it both ways. So which one you consider is more significant? Increase in relative value or decrease in material use? Which one is more significant? Now you have to decide. I can't say. My conception is same for whole world as well. What after all do we understand about economy of world? Every country boasts, oh, we have gone this much, we have grown this much. Yes, that you have done. But in which terms? If you just think of where is wealth of world? Wealth of world is in earth. No wealth is coming from skies. These gold and silvers are not coming from skies. Uranium is not falling from skies. Nothing is coming except air, rain, and sunlight. Sunlight, air, and rain, this we get through skies or through medium of skies. But other wealth, which is not from these agencies, through these agencies, for example, soil, rocks, sand, dust, lime, whatever material, whatever mineral we get, we use in life, oh, gold, silver, iron, steel, aluminum, whatever, water, whatever material or mineral we use in our life, that are all contained in lithosphere, means earth minus air. We call it solid part of earth. Solid plus water part of earth is lithosphere. Whatever wealth is hidden in sea and oceans or water bodies, and whatever wealth is hidden in other parts of solid bodies, that quantity of whatever is there remains same. We have not changed it. We can't change it. Can you change quantity of water and sea? Can you change whatever wealth is available in sea in terms of algae and in terms of all material available in that? Can you change what is available within earth mass, within crust, within mantle, and within core? We can't do that. Now what we boast about? Why do we boast about? That point must be considered sincerely. It's not easy to understand everything in time. Means it's solar system, we are part of solar system. Remember, we are not paying anything to solar system for delivery of whatever materials, whatever supports we are getting from sun, from air, from skies, or from whatever source, rain. We are not going to pay anything, no bills are coming in. For small service we are getting bills like electrical supply bill, water bill, this bill and that bill. We pay them. But to nature, we don't pay anything. Nature provides this service free of cost. So what valuation we think of we have? Every country boasts about this. We are having this much GDP. We are having so many quantities of these materials. But they forget that it's all come from earth. It's all materials come from earth, nothing from else. So whatever is hidden in earth, it is same. Whatever was hidden in terms of fossil fuels, for example, petroleum products, which took maybe millennium years for conversion of fossil fuel to petroleum product or crude oil, and we thought that this for us, we did not waste any time in extracting that, since we knew that we have got this material. Just believe in, since 1935 onwards to now, it's not even 100 years, and we have spoiled, will exploited, explored all that material. Who is responsible for that? All people of world. Some people extracted it, they claimed their ownership on that, and they sold that to whole world. So they got money. They got money in terms of currency, and they are happy that they are enjoying life. That's what I want to say. Wealth remains same. If you ask some economics will say in so many terms, so many references, but factually speaking, like our body is, of every individual, same is earth. Earth, which gives us everything, but that material, whatever we get from earth, is constant in quantity, It cannot increase on its own, and we do not know thoroughly about lithosphere. That is also true. We can't claim today what hidden materials are available, what minerals are available in whole earth. We know something about only top 35 kilometer part, not even 35 kilometer part, you can say. We generally 35 kilometers called crust, and we don't even know 100% about crust. Then forget about mantle and forget about core, what's hidden there. Nobody knows. We only know that crust is, say, up to few kilometers. We know something. We know something about sea. Sea is generally defined water body up to a depth of 4 kilometers from sea level, and up to 10 kilometers it's called ocean. We don't know what's available in 5 kilometers from surface of earth, surface of lithosphere. Maybe 2 or 3 kilometers or 4 kilometers are used for purpose of exploration or rigging, or for purpose of drilling of gases or drilling of oil. If reservoir is available, it's even an onshore, offshore, you can say. Same thing happens. We can't go to 3000 kilometers below. It's not possible. If I ask someone, can you make room, one room, small room at depth of 5 kilometers or 2 kilometers or 3 kilometers? Well, I think it shall become a very big project. It's not even thinkable today that we can construct at a depth of 2 kilometers, 1 kilometer, one room. It is the same thing as we cannot construct one more small earth. This earth is 13,000 kilometers, approximately, or 12,500 kilometer diameter. If somebody asks, okay, can this God has constructed this small earth, 13,000 kilometer diameter, can you construct 1 kilometer such earth? It's an imaginary question though, but question is question. Somebody has to answer that. As an engineer, I have to think. It's my duty to think. No one can stop me from thinking. Even I'm doing engineering work or not, thinking is my right. It's natural right. This right can't be measured. This right can't be defined. And this right can't be changed. Even if you wish, you can't change it. My thinking, my conception, my imagination, or your imagination, your conception, no one can change it, because this is nature's work. As a thinker, you are a part of nature. As a living being, you are a part of nature. Your body is not controlled by you, because it's not owned by you. You are just using this. So much functions are available in body. Plant, we call plants, refinery plant, this plant, that plant. We speak about that. But if you compare, this body itself is a plant that continues for whole life or duration of this, whatever number of years you live in. That since time you are born until time you are over, it doesn't stop in functioning. Respiration doesn't stop, brain work doesn't stop, blood circulation doesn't stop, its functions don't stop. If there's something very concrete, but we don't value it. It's a machine, living machine based on soul science. Soul helps it, so we don't have to recognize it technically. Our recognition limits us, but what? Because we are living itself is an evidence. Because everybody is living, every animal is living. It indicates evidently that there is someone, but who is that? We do not know. We have faith in that. We don't have any evidence or scientific logic of that. This power is holding me. We believe in that power, by whatever name, but we can't prove that power does exist. But that is not question here. Question is, I should not divert from quality. My point of view is quality. And what quality of thinking we do have? Means it's not simple quality of living. Thinking is a part of living. Eating is a part of living. Life is a part of living. Family is a part of living. Institution is a part of living. Country is a part of living. World is part of living. And in fact, nature is part of living. Nature is our super parent. We have to believe it or we have not to believe it. Irrespective of that, we are part of it. It doesn't make any difference if I don't accept God. It doesn't give me anything if I accept it, because we are there, here. It's evidence that's because of some power I am here. So I have to think to that limit, that there is someone. Beyond that, I can't justify my statement. Yes, there is someone because there is sky. There is someone because there is sun. There is someone because there is universe is working. And there is someone because people are coming in. through birth. Babies come in, there's someone who's sending them. Human doesn't have power to generate its own, and there is someone who is withdrawing all the time. So what I say, procedures are seen, activities are seen, but operators of those activities is unknown. Operator of those activities is unknown. That's why we can limit ourselves to quality, to designs, we can limit ourselves to construction, we can limit also the methods, we can limit ourselves to time and cost and risk and you can say reliability and analysis. These are only, you can say, procedures of thinking. Thinking lies everywhere. In engineering there is thinking. In contemplation it's a group of thinking. Thinking itself is a thinking, and analysis and synthesis are based on thinking. Then you can say reliability is a total thinking. Thinking about its safety, thinking about its service, thinking about its durability. And then you can say risks, of course. Risks are seen based on thinking also. We can say there's a risk like this, and if there's a risk like this, I have to mitigate that risk. And then we can say cost. We have to risk ourselves by calculation. We have to say no, this is cost only is relation to quantity. Quantity is constant. Cost may increase. Quantity may not increase, but cost may increase, or cost may decrease also. And then we have to find solution. We have to find procedure. How should I move? How should I move in time? How should I do something best in time? And then you can say these all relate to construction, relate to designs, relate to quality, because construction is junior form of design, and design is junior form of quality thinking. So quality thinking, quality work means good design work, and design work means good construction work. This can be I'm not calling quality here of of construction. I'm talking of quality in totality. And it is a quality of construction plus quality of design plus quality of every other discipline. That's what I'm interested in talk of. And that quality is not limited to something. And if you say we talk of certain methods, of course we talk of methods, and methods are a very important point in life, and we can't do without that. Without methods we cannot do anything, and that's where what we have to think of. We are doing something about some applications of engineering, construction, treatments, etc. in last talk we talked about painting systems. We talked about something else also. To continue that, this file which I am showing to you is regarding some method statements, where not all, it's some few, means some statements only, which can equip everyone with something, some easy or difficult methods of construction. I am interested in construction because this is for permanent use. Construction is only word, only domain where something can be made available forever. All other activities in life where there doesn't exist any construction, of course construction exists there also, but in different style, in different mode. Construction of even some diagram, construction of some picture, or a child constructs something, that's also construction but of lower profile. Construction that I'm talking is for permanent use or forever real use in life as material. Construction is a combination, is integration of materials, and materials not my or your product, those materials that come from nature in whatever form, in form of rocks, in form of sand, in form of water, in form of whatever energy. I'm talking of that construction. Construction is a combination of various structures. Structures means every rock has a structure. chemical structure, crystallography, electronic structure. Every metal has iron, steel, ferrous, gold, silver, whatever mineral you talk about. Even in soil, there are minerals. The soils are dangerous for foundations, but they have minerals. Mount Morellonite, Kaolite, Illite, in clay soil we have. So nature is full of minerals. We can say nature contains that wealth which we consider wealth. Otherwise, it's part of earth, it's part of soil, it's part of rock. A rock is more important because whole world itself is rock. Lithosphere is rock, and this soil or this sand or whatever comes, that's all product of, directly or indirectly, product of rock. Igneous rock, sedimentary rock, metamorphic rock. Generally, three major rocks are classified. Igneous means rock, a result of fire, of lava, magma. We see on exposed portion of volcano, and that is very strong rock conversion. Granite, etc., which doesn't have any stratification but solid part. It's not having stratification like sedimentary rock, which is a result of these sand, etc. Sand layers or whatever layer is available, sand layer or lime layer, and in passage of time, you can say in period of hundreds of years, thousands of years, you will find different layers of earth portion, crust portion, which is called sedimentary rocks. And then further agencies like weather, sun, water, act on that layer, those layers, to convert those layers into different types of rocks, which we call metamorphic rock, because met stands for metallurgy. So metamorphic action applied on those sedimentary rocks, which converts them to metamorphic rocks. So igneous rocks, original, that comes from volcano. Sedimentary rocks, a result of sedimentation of layers in many centuries. And then also conversion of these sedimentary rocks through agencies of nature into you can say into metamorphic rocks, which is well defined, and we have to understand that all these rock system result into various kinds of, you can say, rock stones, marble stones, or you can also say granites, sandstone, limestone, likewise, which you use in construction. And we talk of wood also, wood which is a product of trees like exogenous trees or endogenous trees. Most important are exogenous trees. Exogenous means every tree has certain trunk, and that trunk has certain layers. You can say vertical movement layer into horizontal flow. If you take a section of tree trunk, you will find various curves in that, parallel curves, and each curve, you can say, is a result of annual build-up. In exogenous trees, it's built up outside, externally, and in endogenous trees, build-up is stored inside. So trunk of endogenous trees is smaller in diameter, while trunk of exogenous tree is wider in diameter. You have to understand this point very well. Only then we can say, yes, there is this or there's that. But point still remains same. Method statement is only a medium that can you can say equips engineer, particularly because engineer is a professional who has duty or responsibility to produce some structural elements, to produce some structural and also produce some finishing items like plaster, render, flooring, roofing, fixing of doors and windows, construction of doors and windows, aluminum doors, windows, steel door windows, plastic door windows, and also wooden door windows, glazing, as well as railing, or you can say parapet, cladding wall, and all sanitary work, water supply work, or whatever work is there to serve any structure, whatever structure. That's all under purview of engineering, and in fact, even architecture is engineering. It comes under purview of engineering because engineering means a process of thinking, of something from non-existence to existence. Plot is available, that is natural. You can't change it. You can't fly plot into air. You can't isolate that plot from earth, from surface of earth. If surface of earth plot is not available, then you have nothing to do with that. You can't do anything, can't survive. So plot is not in our control. Yes, size of plot is in control, but existence of plot is in lithosphere control. And also we exploit same lithosphere to extract this rock material, to convert that to useful construction material. We use soil material, we use also, you can say, water material, we use rocks material, we use sand and dust material. I think there is no material that's left that can't be used in buildings. So in fact, the structure itself is completely natural. It's not like any machine production. It's not like something that we can produce and fix. Yes, prefabricated technology exists, but it's not so universal yet. So we have to depend on soil, we have to depend on rocks, we have to depend on natural agencies to construct something, to design something. Design is also a part of construction, because if we design something, we have objective of construction in mind. If you don't have any objective construction in mind, then design means nothing. It's just like a piece of art. You imagine something, draw a picture and say, okay, see my art. See my imagination. Because art is an expression. Art is an expression of imagination on a piece of paper. Just like a poet writes a poem by imaginations, looking at society, thinking what society does, and just reproduces that, his own expression into terms of poem or shire or whatever you call it. So that's only, you can say, measured in different aspects. But what I'm talking is physical aspects of life. Life can't move without this. You just imagine, if suppose there is no houses in world, what would our world be look like? There's no road in world. There is no canal in world. There's nothing is available. There's no airport in world. So just think what would world look like. It would look like something, means nothing exists. We have not developed anything. We still relate our development to these infrastructural works, but that's also not true. First we have to develop ourselves. That's the important part. Development of individual, development of human being. If we can't develop ourselves and claim we have developed the world, it's nothing but a fake statement, fake thinking, because we can't see beyond that. We can't see beyond material. If we don't develop ourselves, our ethics, our way of conducting, our, you can say, development of thinking, how to help self and how to help others, we just convert everything in terms of money, in terms of value, and that value keeps on increasing or decreasing without impacting on materials is based upon. So it's a big point of concern. As an engineer, I'm not worried about expansion of cost. I am worried, of course, cost is budget. I can't say that, but what I'm saying is, once you invest that cost, once you make one building, make one structure, you can't do anything on that structure for times to come. Yes, you may increase its value in terms of money, but its material value, its material quantity doesn't increase. Area on which this material lies doesn't increase. We have to limit rather some demarcation. By demarcation, this is power of this building, this is, you can say, boundary of this. Beyond this boundary, this building doesn't have any ownership. There's so much part in buildings and structures that ownership is limited. This point you have to understand how many percent of this plot area I'm going to cover. That's my ownership. Yes, other part of which is not going to be called is ownership, but it's different type of easement ownership. You can say we have easement rights on that. It's not because I want to speak or want to do something. Question is not that. Question is that we have to understand our basics. You think a lot, you will find answers. Everything is relative in this world. Everything is relative. Nothing is original. Original is nature. Original is earth. Original is everything. And origin of nature is always undesigned. There's a big design in mind of origin of this earth or earth owner. I'm not earth owner. I'm user. If we own this earth, then there's a false statement, because if I'm owner, I should have every right. I don't have right to fly. This means I'm not I'm not owner of this earth. Whatever I am taught, I do that. That's very, very small part in our school education or in our university education. This points very it's clear. You can understand specifically and clearly. That's very important one. So I am just trying to explain to all those youth who have future of world in their hands, and particularly in our country, all youth who also have future of this country in their hands. It's not question of what future is there, it's question of what is your thinking. Thinking based future means if you every time count money, so you are money person, you are not real person. But don't forget, money doesn't go with anybody. It doesn't go with you, with me, or with someone. It goes nothing. Even your dead body is not valued after your death. Unfortunately, I live in this body for say 60, 70 years. At the time of my death, they will not allow you to keep for a couple of hours. Okay, take quickly, do quickly, and we have to take, we have to cremate, or we have to do graveyard process. People think that way. That's part of life, this life. So I'm not concerned with long life or with long-term life. Long life is not important. Quality of life is important. And quality of life doesn't mean material quality. It's soul quality. It's your own ownership quality. If I have so many cars, it doesn't give me quality level. If I have so many servants with me, it also doesn't equate to quality. Means whatever without all this is possible to be done, we should do. Because health is yours, wealth is yours. Therefore, my talk is not like to teach you something in spiritual world, because you are already in a spiritual world. No need teaching. Only difference is you are not identifying that this train in which you are going or traveling for so many years has to drop you somewhere. Otherwise, why should you be in train? You should be outside train. So when you are within train, you don't see beyond geography. You can't see from that. That same thing happens when we are in our life. We can't see beyond our demarcation of life. In which family I am born, who are my parents, who are my siblings, who are my relatives, in which society I have been living. Beyond that, it's difficult to think by common person or very, very low profile person like me. There are many higher profile people, much more higher than what I am. But as far as ethics are concerned, assumption of life is concerned, all are same. There is no difference. We are careless, we are not serious in any approach, and we are just casual. So, condemning all this continuation of talk, I can say, I should not waste your time, and let us move for understanding what methods we have in our mind to help at least new generation, new engineers to think of. Means now I'm not that active as I was before. I'm now 67 running. This means actions are falling. But through some time back, if you see, these were rising. Now they're falling. Emotional shocks changes life. One can come into depression if not properly cared for. So one should not be that. We should not be depressed because we have to achieve quality, and quality can't be achieved in depression. You have to be active all the time. Active, remaining active is only solution. Even if you are not efficient, you are not used to answer all questions, but you should understand question, and if you do not understand, you can seek certain clarification on that. That's point where we can say life moves on like that. When we talk of method statements, which is very common procedure for understanding what this mind says to other mind, it's a part of communication, continuation. Quality starts in the beginning. You have to take bath or you have to do your daily processes, and after that you can say drink water, you can eat food, you can do whatever you can. And that's where life remains in. When I was too young, I never ever understood economy, but I still I'm saying to understand economy in same routine, because after all we are not producing anything. In fact, human produces nothing, to be very frank. Human all over the world uses natural products. You buy fruits, you buy crops, you buy houses, you buy something. Nothing is contributed by human except using these materials. I am taking apple, banana. What I did for that? Just did small work through farming professional only, and fruits are available after a few months. And similarly, crops are available after months, and we just further process those all and sell them in market. This is all our job. Our job is not more than that, but we have made this job as top plank of thinking. You can't say that, otherwise it shall cause problem. So my dear, maybe sometimes you feel boring by these talks. I understand. But boring is not that problem like ignoring quality. My quality is for total quality system. Therefore, it's not quality control alone. Quality control items are available in every book, in every professional work, and you can read those and you can understand those. There may be quality of original work, quality of excavation, quality of application, quality of thinking, quality of initiation, and quality of thinking why. Once you understand quality, what we require is time is changed. Now I'm talking of timber doors. What is timber? First of all, we have to understand why do we call it timber doors? Why not wooden doors? Wood, what is wood? Wood means jungle, forest, and forest means the thousands of trees exist, full-fledged trees or plants or bushes, wild trees. If they are exist in some area, that area can be called forest, can be called wood. Wood, we say we were in woods. We generally say I visited wood area, wooden side of this part, and that wood which can be used for engineering works, wood that can be used in engineering activities is called something. So we say wood that comes from forest, from trees. After due cutting and processing and preserving that timber, we can take it to solutions of engineering, and when this wood, which had no function, but by transaction it becomes competitive in control. Competitive is better, is already better. Means if you can use that wooden products for engineering use, that's called engineering products. So timber is engineering item of wood. Engineering function of woodwork is called timber. Means in market timber merchants they write, but explanation of that must be gigantic, let's say. So here talk is timber, doors, fixing only, not even construction of doors, though it's also not very difficult. In these shutters on top you can say, I'll get you this text and then let you know what is that. Here is a statement which is aimed to present proposed procedure which shall be adopted to carry out fixing of workshop factory in wooden doors to exact locations, prepared openings, whatever openings are there, window opening, fan light opening, door entry, shutter entry. So we can say we have to first fabricate these frames in carpentry shop or workshop according to dimensions given to us, or we calculate whatever size of frame we have, whatever size of opening we have some opening, whatever size it is, then we have to leave space for subframes around, and then we can design our door for purpose of construction and whatever defined system we adopt, or we do new system and that works automatically. That's the way we should go. We have some designs. For example, there's a wall, 100 mm wall or 200 mm wall. We have to cover that one with first frame that is fixed on subframe just to keep wall in line, everything, and after plaster we will actually fix them. So that's a frame plus some plaster thickness on both sides, and then agriculture resistance. We have some design, let us say, and we keep width of frame equal to width of wall plus architrave beads, if a little more it is, and then these sheets distribute. Well, doesn't matter. I'm not imagining some scenes. I'm just trying to give you. So it's procedure to be adopted to carry out fixing of workshop factory built into wooden doors to exact locations on prepared opening left in back wall. So we have certain references. Whatever references means is teak wood, brass screws. You need brass screws, and you can say plastic roll plugs. And of course specification etc. So general definition about responsibilities we are given. Safety also we have talked of. It's a normal safety in that case. Then materials, we can say we have to source from somewhere. I think is good source, and of course whatever number of hours we consider for fire resistance, fire breakdown, backup. And once we understand that, We are talking of wooden doors. It says fire rating, whatever, 1 hour, half hour, 2 hours. Seasoned hardwood. Seasoned hardwood. You know what is seasoning of wood? Seasoned hardwood of approved make shall only be used. Generally, Maranti is used. If you just want to know seasoning, I think you know it well. But it's my duty to let you know what actually it should be. We may say something about this in terms of definitions, and that can be called, wood seasoning. You can say wood seasoning or drying process. You can say different ways of seasoning and wood can be achieved. Also, it's said that different ways that seasoning of wood can be achieved. Seasoned timber has an average moisture content of 15%. Let us see this, what it says. Let's try to print it and show to you. It's better. It takes, of course, some time, but it's better if you do like that. After all, it's I'm just converting it to PDF to share with you, and it's now PDF. Okay, so we just talk of this. I'm not going to save it, just to show. You may say that this is stock of timber. Stock of timber here, that is seasoned timber has an average moisture. You can see this process here, timber seasoning process, wood seasoning process. Seasoned timber has an average moisture content of 15%, average moisture content of 15%, although moisture readings may occasionally reach 18%, but bulk of package of seasoned timber shall have a lower moisture content. Most appearance products are seasoned and may have special requirements for moisture contents that are significantly less than 15%. Many structural products are now specified as seasoned. So let us see how it says. We use cookies to an early bit. I'm not interested in this. That's something else. Now it says everything is exposed to rain. So even when all free water has been lost, timber will still be classified as unseasoned, as its moisture content would still be above 25%. Further drying is required to bring moisture content down. Additional reduction in moisture content below fiber saturation point requires a reduction of amount of bound water in wood cells wall, which in turn needs more energy and occurs more slowly than loss of free water. It also results in a reduction in size of cell walls, which causes timber to shrink. Says here something. Says I think there's some confusion. There's a writing here, so let's leave it better. Kiln seasoning it is. A number of commercial processes for seasoning of timber are available, but most common one is kiln drying. Kiln seasoning accelerates process of seasoning by using external energy to drive out moisture. Timber is stacked in same way as it's for an air drying and is placed inside a chamber in which conditions can be varied to provide best seasoning results. Air is circulated around charged stacked timber, and temperature and humidity can be varied to provide optimum drying. Each species has different cell characteristics and would therefore require different drying schedules. Typically, timber may be in kiln for a period of 2 days to a week. Generally, it's not feasible to kiln dry structural timber in thicknesses greater than 45 mm, although there are limited amounts of 70 mm thick kiln dried softwood members in marketplace. All untreated structural pine and some commercial logwoods are seasoned mostly using kiln that are often heated by sawmill. All untreated structural pine and some commercial woods are seasoned mostly using kilns that are often heated by sawmill byproducts of gas. Studies are continually being done to determine kiln drying schedules for different species, but researchers were already able to develop a kiln supervisor tool that would be able to analyze kiln productivity and use though through a variety of performance indicators. An optimum schedule will remove moisture as quickly as possible, rendering minimum damage to dried timber. After kiln seasoning, there will often be some damage to cells near surface of wood. This is because all of moisture pass through. Alright, now this happens, so you can see how this is done. That's more interesting. Plantation softwood seasoning in Australia. Plantation softwood seasoning in Australia mainly utilizes high temperature drying where kiln temperature is significantly higher than boiling point. So what we say now, plantation softwood seasoning in Australia mainly utilizes high temperature drying where kiln temperature is significantly higher than boiling point. This higher temperature permits softening of lignin in timber, which begins to occur at about 90 degrees Celsius. This softened lignin allows timber fibers to realign themselves. While stack of timber is being held straight by weights, tendency to twist and distort during drying process may be avoided. You can see then softened lignin allows timber fibers to realign themselves while stack of timber is being held straight by weights. Tendency to twist and distort during drying process may be avoided. Producing timber shall remain straight when cooling under restraint. A typical drying process for so we can say then tendency to twist and distort during drying process may be avoided. Producing timber will remain straight when cooling under restraint. A typical drying process for plantation softwood is principle involves pre-steaming for 4 hours and drying at temperatures above 115 degrees Celsius. So you have to steam it. Processes softwood using this principle was pre-steaming for 4 hours and drying at a temperature of about 115 degrees Celsius until moisture content falls below 10%. This step will typically take 3 to 5 days. Timber is then humidified with steam for about 4 hours and cooled under restraint. Conventional kiln drying for hardwoods uses temperatures below boiling point of water. This avoids damage to wood fiber, which, if seasoned, is not adequately controlled, can experience loss of strength. In seasonal hardwoods, process is slow and can be economically undertaken first. Another option would be to partially season hardwoods to a period of 3 to 9 months, depending on thickness of material, ambient temperature and humidity, and species, where partial seasoning process can be accelerated for some hardwoods by using a fan-forced pre-drying in controlled environment. Reduces lead time for kiln drying to 20-30 days. Once a sawn hardwood material reaches fiber saturation of moisture content of different grades, now, as drying is a relatively slow process, particularly for hardwoods, typically takes 6 to 9 days, 9 months, to reach a moisture content in range at fiber saturation point. Time taken for air drying is a function of thickness of timber. When little additional energy needs to be supplied for this type of seasoning, there are still disadvantages. For instance, stack of timber requires a lot of land. Process may lead to a potential fire hazards, and product is not able to be sold for a considerable time. Interest costs on holding stock for a long period may be also be significant. Now we can say, while little additional energy needs to supply for this type of seasoning, there are still disadvantages. For instance, stack of timber requires a lot of land. Process may lead to potential fire hazards, and the product is not able to be sold for a considerable time. Interest costs in holding stock for long period may also be significant. In timber air drying, amount of drying are very much governed by relative humidity of drying environment and will area, vary with individual boards. You can say interest costs on holding stock for long periods may also be significant. In timber air drying, amount of drying is very much governed by relative humidity of drying environment and shall often vary within individual boards as well as within stacks. Solar drying. Solar seasoning Solar seasoning offers a compromise between low energy requirement of air during drying and speed of kiln drying. Number of different configurations. Now, solar drying is very important thing here. You can say solar seasoning offers a compromise between low energy requirement of air drying and speed of kiln drying. Number of different number of different configurations have been tried, including double skinned inflatable kiln, because energy output and input is variable. Kilns often have effective insulation to hold heat inside at night time. Some kilns developed sources could generate temperature of over 40 degrees Celsius even when external temperature is minus 20. Now, solar drying, which can take nearly twice time required for kiln drying, is well suited to high grade applications such as fumed furniture. It's too slower and gentler from a kiln drying. Some seasoned hardwood producer use air drying down to now we can say that solar drying, which can take nearly twice, okay fine. Microwave seasoning, let us say once again, let us finish this pair actually, because solar drying, which can take nearly twice time required for kiln drying, is well suited to high grade applications such as furniture. It's a slower and gentler form of kiln drying. Some seasoned hardwood producers use air drying down to fiber saturation point (FSP) before stacking the timber in solar kiln. Research has found evidence that solar drying, particularly using timber solar dryers, significantly reduce drying time and drying defective defects compared to all dryers. And microwave seasoning is an uncommon method of removing moisture, but maybe serve as a complementary tool to air dryer to facile. Now you can say it's enough. I think, let us say, there are so many, it's not clear picture actually. Seasoning degrade can produce timber that has reduced utility due to following factors: twisting and other deformations such as bow and spring, one of most commonly observed forms of degrading in wide priced pieces of timber. Boards, its cupping of members. Board becomes concave on the face further from core wood, or center of loop and convex on other face. Cracks that do not extend right through timber. They often present as a small surface crack that doesn't extend deep into timber but shall reduce appearance value of timber and make it more difficult to coat with surface finish. Internal checking, also known as honeycombing. These checks are not visible on surface but are exposed when piece of timber is cut. Splitting, these are cracks that extend right through timber. They are most prevalent at ends collapse. Some cells collapse and surface of timber have a corrugated or washboard appearance. Cross section may be regular rather than rectangular shape it started with. Collapse can be recovered in some species through controlled re humi- really humidification, humidification, rehumidification in streaming chamber. Black heart, a number of species are prone to severe shaking and collapse in zone of dark colored wood in core material of logs. This can cause problem when this otherwise decorative material is exposed to face of a piece of timber. So these are cracks that, like I said, twisting first is twisting and other deformations such as bow and spring, and cracks that do not extend right through timber, cracks that do not extend right through timber, internal checking and splitting, collapse and backlash. Now this is, I think, to think of. We talk of this. We can take also some other thing and things you can see. Let's see something else here. You can find different ways. Then it says wood drying. Let's see what it says Wikipedia. Wikipedia it says that, can I take print of this? I'm not sure. Shall I even take print? Yes, it is. Yes, if I can take print, I can show it to you on PDF. That's the main point here. Actually, it's now where it is. That's a print. It's not PDF yet. I think it's processing to convert to PDF. So it's converted to PDF, and let us see what it says. Now what says this, as a matter of fact, wood drying, also seasoning lumber, seasoning lumber or wood, lumber or wood same, reduces moisture content of wood before its use. When drying is done in a kiln, product is known as kiln dried timber or lumber, whereas air drying is more traditional method. There are two main reasons for drying wood. What is woodworking and wood burning? Woodworking, when wood is used as construction material, whether as a structural support in a building or in woodworking objects, it absorbs or expels moisture until it is in equilibrium with its surroundings. Equilibrium, usually drying, causes unequal shrinkage in wood and can cause damage to wood if equilibration occurs too rapidly. Equilibration must be controlled to prevent damage to wood. Wood burning. When wood is burned, firewood, it's usually best to dry it first. Damage from shrinkage is not a problem here. It may be in the case of drying for woodworking purposes. Moisture affects the burning process. So wood burning, when wood is burned, is firewood is usually burned to dry it first. Damage from shrinkage is not a problem as it may be the case of drying for good working purpose. Moisture affects burning process with unburnt hydrocarbons going up chimney. A 50% wet log is burnt at high temperature with good heat extraction from you can say exhaust from exhaust gas leading to 100 degrees Celsius exhaust temperature. About 5 degrees of energy of log is wasted through evaporation and heating of water vapor. With condensers, work efficiency can be further increased, but for normal stove, key to burning when the wood is to burn is at hot, perhaps starting fire with dry woods. For some purposes, wood is not dried at all and is used grain. Often wood must be in equilibrium with air outside as for construction wood or air indoors as for wooden furniture. Wood is air dried or dried in a purpose built oven. Usually wood is sawn before drying, but sometimes log is dried whole. Case hardening describes lumber or timber that has been dried too rapidly. Wood initially dries from shell surface, that is shrinking to shell in putting core under compression. When this shell is at a low moisture content, it will set and resist shrinkage. Core of wood is still at a higher moisture content. This core will then begin to dry and shrink. However, shrinkage is resisted by already set shells. This leads to a reverse stress, to reverse stresses, compression stresses on shell and tension stresses in core. This results in unrelieved stresses called case hardening. Case hardening may warp considerably and dangerously when stress is released by sawing. So wood-water relationship, moisture content, fiber saturation point, equilibrium moisture content of wood in service, shrinkage and swelling, mechanism of moisture movement, moisture passageways, moisture movement space, driving forces for moisture movement, capillary action, moisture content differences, moisture movement directions for diffusion, reasons for splits and cracks during timber drying and their control, influence of temperature, relative humidity and ratio of air circulation, classification of timbers for drying model. Methods of drying a timber. Methods of drying timber: air drying, kiln drying schedules, dehumidification kiln, vacuum kiln, solar kiln, water seasoning, boiling or steam seasoning, chemical or salt seasoning, electrical seasoning. Drying defects: wood drying kiln, drying defects, wood drying kiln, Occupational Safety and Health Administration OSHA standards regarding dry kiln facilities in the United States. References further ending types of wood and say types of wood. Wood is divided according to botanical origin into two kinds: softwoods from coniferous trees and you can say wood is divided according to its botanical origin into two kinds: softwoods from coniferous trees and hardwoods from broad-leaved trees. Softwoods are generally simple in structure, whereas Hardwoods are harder and more complex. However, in Australia, softwood generally describes rainforest trees, and hardwood describes sclerophyll species, eucalyptus apes. Softwoods which such as pine are typically much lighter and easier to process than hardwoods such as fruit tree wood. Density of softwoods ranges from 350 kg per cubic meter to 700 kg per cubic meter, while hardwoods are 450 kg per meter cube to 1250 kg per meter cube. Because of hardwood, once dried, both consist of approximately 12% of moisture. Decks and Denovi, because of hardwood's denser and more complex structure, its permeability is much less than that of softwood, making it more difficult to dry, although there are about 100 times more species of hardwood trees. So you can say once dried, both consist of approximately 12% of moisture. Because of hardwood's denser and more complex structures, permeability is much less than that of softwood, making it more difficult to dry. Although there are about 100 times more species of hardwood trees than softwood trees, the ability to be dried and processed faster and more easily makes wood water makes softwood main supply of commercial wood today. Wood water relationship. Timber of living trees and fresh logs contains a large amount of water, which often constitutes over 50% of wood's weight. Water has a significant influence on wood. Wood continually exchanges moisture of water with its surroundings. Although rate of exchange is strongly affected by degree of which wood is sealed. Wood contains water in three forms: free water, bound or hydroscopic water, vapor. Free water, contained bulk of water contained in cell lumina, is only held by capillary forces. It's not bound chemically and is called free water. Free water is not in the same thermodynamic state as liquid water. Energy is required to overcome capillary forces. Furthermore, free water may contain chemicals altering the drying characteristics of wood. Let us say bound or hygroscopic waters. Bound water is bound to wood via hydrogen bonds. Attraction of wood for water arises from presence of free hydroxyl OH group in cellulose, hemicellulose and lignin molecules in cell walls. Hydroxyl groups are negatively charged because water is a polar liquid. And you can say hydroxyl groups are negatively charged because water is a polar liquid. Free hydroxyl groups in cellulose attract and would hold water by hydrogen bonds. So we can say now bound water is bound to wood via hydrogen bonds Addition of wood for water arises from presence of free hydroxyl groups in cellulose, hemicellulose and lignin molecules in cell wall. Hydroxyl groups are negatively charged because water inefficient. Yes, a vapor in cell lumina in form of water vapor is normally negligible at normal temperature. Moisture content. Moisture content of wood is calculated mass change as a proportion of dry mass. So you can say formula is moisture content is equal to mg minus mod or mod into 100, where mg is green mass of wood, mod is own dry mass. So you can say green mass minus own dry mass. Attainment of constant mass generally after drying in oven set at 103 plus minus 2 degrees, that is for 24 hours, as mentioned by Walker. This equation can also be expressed as fraction of mass of water and mass of oven dried bone rather than a percentage. For example, 0.59 kilogram per kilogram oven dry basis expresses same moisture content is 59% oven dry. When green wood dries, free water from cell lumina, held by capillary forces only, is first to go. Physical properties such as strength and shrinkage are generally not affected by removal of free water. Fiber saturation point is defined as moisture content at which free water should be completely gone, while cell walls are saturated with bound water. In most types of woods, fiber saturation point is at 25 to 30 degrees moisture content. CIU 924 purported that fiber saturation point XFSP kilogram per kilogram is dependent on temperature according to following equation. XFSP is equal to 0.3 minus 0.001 T minus 20, and it's different definitions. So these are all, now we are going to something else. Equilibrium moisture content. Equilibrium moisture content. Let me see how many pages actually we have to go through so that I can just limit it, because it's long page better, so we can go it, no problem. Let's go it this way. So it is equilibrium moisture content. Let me save this file. I think it will have. Let me save this file better. Save as I can save this in my MS documents. MS. Okay, I save in boot drive. Okay, fine. Okay, equilibrium moisture content. Wood is a hygroscopic substance. Wood is hygroscopic substance, and it should be fully charged. So I think. Let me come back. Just a minute, please. Let me go and come back. You may read this. You can. I'm leaving it for you to read. You can read this. 10 minutes, probably for 10 minutes. I can't say. You can read this. Sorry, gentlemen. I'm back. Then we are tuning, and we are moving on to minimize charges in wood. Let us say now. To minimize, you can say. To minimize changes in wood moisture content or movement of wooden subjects in service, usually dry to moisture content that's close to average EMC condition to which it will be exposed. These conditions vary from interior uses compared with exterior uses in a given geographic location. For example, according to Australian standards for timber drying quality, AS AnnexSL 4787-2001, EMC is recommended to be 10 to 12% for majority of Australian states, although extreme cases are up to 15 to 18% for some places in Queensland, Northern Territory, Western Australia and Tasmania. However, EMC is as low as 6 to 7% in dry, centrally heated houses and offices or in permanently air-conditioned buildings. Shrinkage and swelling. Shrinkage and swelling may occur in wood. Shrinkage and swelling may occur in wood when moisture content is changed. Shrinkage occurs as moisture content decreases. Shrinkage and swelling may occur in wood when moisture content is changed. Shrinkage occurs as moisture content decreases while swelling takes place when it increases. It's the same thing as shrinkage and swelling may occur in wood when moisture content is changed. Shrinkage occurs as moisture content decreases while swelling takes place when it increases. Volume change is not equal in all directions. The greatest dimensional change occurs in a direction tangential to growth ring. Shrinkage from pith or outward or radially is usually considerable less than tangential shrinkage, while longitudinal along grain shrinkage is so slight as to be usually neglected. Longitudinal shrinkage is 0.1% to 0.3% in contrast to transverse shrinkages, which is 2% to 10%. Tangential shrinkage is often about twice as great as radial direction, although in some species it is as much as 5 times as great. Shrinkage is about 5 to 10% in tangential direction and about 2 to 6% in radial direction. Differential transverse shrinkage of wood is related to alternation of late wood and early wood increments within annual ring. Influence of wood ray on radial direction. For features of cell wall structures such as microfibril, angle modifications and pits. Chemical composition of middle lamella. Wood drying may be described as art of ensuring that gross dimensional changes through shrinkage are confined to drying process. Ideally, wood is dried to that equilibrium moisture content as will later be attained by wood. Thus, further dimensional changes shall be kept minimum. what it says. Its wood drying may be described as art of ensuring the gross dimensional change through shrinkage or confined to drying process. Ideally, wood is dried to that equilibrium moisture content as will later in studies be attained by wood. Thus, further dimensional change will be kept to minimum. It's probably impossible to completely eliminate dimensional change in wood, but elimination of change in size may be approximated by chemical modification. For example, wood can be treated with chemicals to replace hydroxyl groups with other hydrophobic functional groups of modifying agents. Among all existing processes, wood modification with acetic anhydride has been noted for high anti-shrink or anti-swell efficiency, attainable without damage to wood. However, acetylation of wood has been slow to be commercialized due to cost, corrosion, and entrapping of acetic acid in wood. There is an extensive volume of literature relating to chemical modification of wood. Drying timber is one method of adding value. Drying timber is Drying timber is one method of adding value to sawn products from primary wood processing industries, according to Australian Forest and Wood Products Research and Development Corporation, that is FWPRDC. Green sawn hardwood, which is sold at about whatever rate per cubic meter or less, increases in value to per cubic meter or more with drying and processing. However, currently used conventional drying process often results in significant quality problems from cracks both externally and internally, reducing value of product. So, drying if carried out promptly after felling of trees also protects timber against primary decay. Fungal strain and attack by certain kinds of insects. Organisms which cause decay and strain generally cannot thrive in timber with a moisture content below 20%. Several tough, all insect pests can live only in green timber. In addition to the advantage of drying timber, following points are also significant. Dried timber is lighter and transportation and handling costs are reduced. Dried timber is stronger than green timber in most strength properties. Timbers for impregnation with preservatives have to be properly dried if proper penetration is to be accomplished, particularly in case of oil type preservatives. In field of chemical modification of wood and wood products, material should be dried to a certain moisture content for appropriate reactions to occur. So I repeat, dry wood generally works machines. Dry wood generally, let us try. Dry timber is lighter. Dry timber is lighter and transportation and handling costs are reduced. Of course, dry timber is stronger than given timber. Green timber in most distant properties. Timber for impregnation. Timbers for impregnation with preservatives. Timbers for impregnation with preservatives have to be properly dried. The proper penetration is to be accomplished, particularly in case of oil type preservatives. In field of chemical modification of wood and wood products, material should be dried to a certain moisture content for appropriate reactions to occur. Dry wood generally works machines, finishes and glues better than green timber. Although there are exceptions, for instance, green wood is often easier to turn than dry wood. Paints and finishes last longer on dry timber. Electrical and thermal insulation properties of wood are improved by drying. Prompt drying of wood immediately after felling therefore significantly upgrades and adds value to raw timber. Drying enables substantial long-term economy by rationalizing use of timber resources. Drying of wood is thus an area for research and development which concerns many researchers and timber companies around the world. Mechanism of moisture movement. Water in wood normally moves from zones of higher to zones of lower moisture content. Drying starts from exterior of wood and moves towards center, and drying at outside is also necessary to expel moisture from inner zones of wood. Wood subsequently attains equilibrium with surrounding air in moisture content. Moisture passageways. Driving force of moisture movement is chemical potential. However, it's not always easy to relate chemical potential in wood to commonly observable variables such as temperature and moisture content. Moisture in wood moves within wood as liquid or vapor through several types of passageways based on nature of driving force, its pressure or moisture gradient, and variations in wood structure. As explained in next section, on driving force for moisture movement, these pathways consist of cavities of vessels, fibers, ray cells, pit chambers and their pit membrane openings, intercellular spaces and transitory cells. Movement, then it is it's myself first takes place in these passageways in every direction, longitudinally in cells as well as laterally from cells to cell until it reaches lateral drying surfaces of wood. Higher longitudinal permeability of sapwood of hardwood is generally caused by presence of vessels. Lateral permeability and transverse flow is often very low in hardwoods. Vessels in hardwoods are sometimes blocked by presence of tylosine and other species. As mentioned, presence of gum veins, formation of which is often as a result of natural protective response of trees with injury, is commonly observed on surface of soundboards of most cellulars. Presence of gum veins, formation of which is often a result of natural protective responses of trees to injury, is commonly observed on surface of soundboards of most eucalypts, despite general higher volume fraction of rays in hardwoods. Typically 15% of wood volume rays are not particularly effective in radial flow, nor are pits on radial surfaces. Moisture movement space. Available space for air. Available space for air and moisture in wood depends on density and porosity of wood. Porosity is volume fraction of void space in a solid. Porosity is reported to be 1.2 to 4.6% of dry volume of wood cell wall. On the other hand, permeability is a measure of ease with which fluids are transported through a porous solid under influence of some driving force, that's capillary force. Capillary pressure, gradient or moisture gradient. It's clear that solids must be porous. Solids must be porous to be permeable, but it doesn't necessarily follow that all porous bodies are permeable. Permeability can only exist if void spaces are interconnected by openings. For example, hardwood may be permeable because there is intervessel pitting with openings in membranes. If these membranes are occluded or encrusted, or if pits are aspirated, would assume a closed cell structure and may be virtually impermeable. Density is also important for impermeable hardwoods because more cell wall material is traversed per unit distance, which offers increased resistance to diffusion. Hence, lighter woods in general dry more rapidly than do heavier ones. Transport of fluids is often bulk flow. Momentum transfer for permeable softwoods at high temperature while diffusion occurs for impermeable hardwoods. These mechanisms are discussed below. Driving force for moisture movement. Three main driving forces used in different versions of different models are moisture content, partial pressure of water, vapor, and chemical potential. These are discussed, including capillary action, which is a mechanism for free water transport in permeable softwoods. Total pressure difference is driving force during wood vacuum drying. Capillary action. Capillary forces determine movement or absence of movement of free water. Is due to both adhesion and cohesion. Adhesion is attraction between water to other substances, and cohesion is attraction of molecules in water to each other. Adhesion is attraction between water to other substances, and cohesion is attraction of molecule in water to each other. As wood dries, evaporation of water from surface sets up capillary forces that exerts a pull on free water in zones of wood beneath surfaces. When there is no longer any free water in wood, capillary forces are no longer in importance. Moisture content differences. Chemical potential is explained here since it is true driving force for transport of water in both liquid and vapor phases in wood. Chemical potential of unsaturated air or wood below fiber saturation point influences drying of wood. Equilibrium will occur at equilibrium moisture content of wood when chemical potential of wood becomes equal to that of surrounding air. Chemical potential of unsaturated air or wood below fiber saturation point influences drying of wood. Equilibrium will let me see time 65%. Okay, equilibrium will occur at equilibrium moisture content of wood when chemical potential of wood becomes equal to that of surrounding air. Chemical potential of absorbed water is function of wood moisture content. Therefore, a gradient of wood moisture content, or more specifically of activity, is accompanied by gradient of chemical potential under isothermal conditions. Moisture shall redistribute itself throughout wood until chemical potential is uniform throughout, resulting in a zero potential gradient at equilibrium. Flux of moisture attempting to achieve equilibrium state is assumed to be proportional to difference in chemical potential and inversely proportional to path length over which potential difference acts. Gradient in chemical potential is related to moisture content. Gradient in chemical potential is related to moisture content gradient as explained in above equation. Diffusion model using moisture content gradient as a driving force was applied. Though agreement between moisture content profiles predicted by diffusion model based on moisture content gradients is better at lower moisture content than at higher ones, there is no evidence to suggest that there are significantly different moisture transport mechanisms operating at higher moisture contents for this timber. Their observations are consistent with a transport process that is driven by total concentration of water. Diffusion model is used for this thesis based on this empirical evidence that moisture content gradient is a driving force for drying this type of impermeable timber. Differences in moisture content between surface and center. Surface and center is gradient, chemical potential difference between interface and bulk. Move bound water through small passageways in cells walls by diffusion. In comparison with capillary movement, diffusion is a slow process. Diffusion is generally suggested mechanism for drying of impermeable hardwoods. Furthermore, moisture migrates slowly due to the fact that extractives plug small cell wall openings in hardwood. This is why sapwood generally dries faster than hardwood under same drying conditions. Gradient in chemical potential is related to moisture content gradient as explained above. Diffusion model using moisture content gradient as a driving force was applied successfully, though agreement between moisture content profiles predicted by diffusion model based on moisture content gradients is better at lower moisture contents than at higher ones. There is no evidence to suggest that there are significantly different moisture transport mechanism operating at higher moisture contents for this timber. This observation are consistent with transport process that's driven by total concentration of water. Diffusion model is used for this thesis based on this empirical evidence that moisture content gradient is the driving force for drying this type of impermeable timber. Differences in moisture content between surface and center gradient, chemical potential difference between the interface and wall. Move bound water through small passageways in cell wall by diffusion. In comparison with capillary movement, diffusion is a slow process. Diffusion is generally suggested mechanism for drying of impermeable hardwoods. Furthermore, moisture migrates slowly due to the fact that extractives plug small cell wall openings in hardwood. This is why sapwood generally dries faster than hardwood. So this is what is moisture movement directions for diffusion. There is then you can say reasons for splits and cracks, influence of temperature, relative humidity and rate of circulations, relative humidity, then classification of timbers for drying, air circulation rates. All we'll discuss later on now because it's too long. I'll leave it here for you and we will see this later on. It's all important one from engineering point of view. Therefore, we can say that it's page 8, I think. I'll cover it later on. Now let's move to here. Let's say I go back to my original talk, which was actually still same, and that is about you can say it is like this. I was talking about this. We'll talk later. It's too long now. Actually, I wanted to explain to you about what wood does. Wood is an engineering product. We know that timber is engineering product. When wood is converted to use in engineering, it's called engineering product, and it can't be. You can say isolated from engineering. We can say that wood is used for engineering purpose and it's called timber. So my purpose was just to let you know about wooden doors or windows, though these are not encouraged nowadays because of so many reasons. Are involved and we don't want them to use now for that purpose, but yet Understanding of wood, understanding of timber is very important from still point of view, because we have to understand nature. We can't forget that nature still exists, though we are not using timber for, we are not encouraging that, but yet we have to understand what material is, engineering material is. And from that viewpoint, I try to explain to you through some source, to some resource, reference. What space means, just like we studied in clay soil, water and porosity, and in other soils, permeability and also capillary action. The similarity exists in wood as well. So you can say wood is a kind of soil. You may say, we may say that. So we say soil is soil, but this is also further product of soil. You may say that the tree also is grown from some soil. Its roots lie in soil, and its refined product is trunk, which takes water through soil and sun actions, solar actions, and water, solar power and water and soil water. You can say soil and solar power and water. These three combination, as well as air, these give rise to birth to your tree trunk and roots and all that. So this means somewhere soil is involved, somewhere water is involved, somewhere sun rays are involved. So it's a kind of combination of these items. So we can't separate it from soil itself, because we have to understand soil. We can't do much about sun rays, and we can't do much about water. But water and soil relations are very important as far as engineering activities are concerned, engineering design is concerned. Same way, tree, we are not using it for engineering purpose yet, but it is material, and we have to understand what relations do exist, because just not to use engineering is also a question mark. Is why should we waste wood? Wood is very expensive item, expensive in sense of its birth, its generations. Means God gives us trunks, trees, and this takes years and years and decades to grow in. And so many elements are involved. As it says, sapwood is involved, green and soft and hard. All we talked just now. We want to understand that. Means what expensive it is actually. We don't even consider the cost of. In cost, we have to understand in terms of its timings. Means how many years does it take to grow one tree, and who are contributors behind that. So when you understand property of soil and you understand properties of timber or wood, these two are related one. How water affects this, and that's what we are studying. Moisture content, just by studying moisture content soil. So you can take little similarity in both, though it's nothing to do with foundations, but understanding material is very important. Means how shall, if we stop using wooden doors, windows, or if we use them, it affects. So what is say fabrication of wooden doors and site installations, blah blah. Now that will continue our studies on that, but just let us process this or finish this one. That is fabrication of wooden doors and site installations. Following operations are involved. The proposal for wooden doors shall be made from. So we have to propose that one for submitting. We have to propose a vendor who is our carpentry workshop or factory. That vendor's approval is also required, because of that vendor must have expertise in its job. That is the wooden door. Now it may be plastic door, it may be steel factory, it may be aluminium. Everyone requires approval. So okay, we are talking of wooden door here or timber, but it is ultimately expert who has to produce that. And wood is also an item that requires engineering on this. So we have to propose our vendor, we have to propose our materials, and then vendor, after being proposed, submit samples pertaining to whatever categories of doors or windows shall be produced. Then work out drawings, means fabrication drawings, or you can say work drawings, required to be approved. All drawings must be submitted according to doors that we propose or sample, for typical sample for all. So submission for approval, all these drawings, which width of frame means width means on which wall you are going to fix this, wall thickness plus plaster on both sides, thickness X, or rendering thickness plus architect, and you can say Of course, architrave beat closes that one, so some projection of that. So subframe size of that accordingly is required. So that's subframe. So you can say relative drawings are required should submit for approvals, which drawing should show that width of frame must cover wall thickness plus plaster finishing thickness on both sides, while architrave should overlap door frame and wall finishes, and there should be a subframe consideration between jamb and door frame. A subframe is inserted for purpose of alignment and for purpose of connection, because frame is not directly connected to brickwork or blockwork. All requirements pertaining and doors designs for contract documents shall be provided to vendor, as well as related specifications for compliance and coordination about doors, location, size and directions of openings shall be decided, and approval obtained prior to commencing fabrication of frames and doors, shutters. Now design respecting core, solid portion, edge lift. So in door itself there is core, the solid portion, the edge lips, architrave beads, and in thumb scent strips, means fire resisting strips, can say, all riveting to be carried out on frames be finalized. We can say design involves core, solid portion, edge lips, and architrave beads, intumescent strip, and all riveting to be carried out on frames shall be finalized. Once complete approval is obtained, fabrication of doors, frames and shutters shall commence with immediately at workshop or factory. All doors shall be numbered, which should include number of doors, shutters, door frames. Preparation at all locations shall be carried out for installing doors at locations. Block wall fixing of expanded material, beadings, inner walls, services, plastering and rendering, fixing of subframes, etc. all shall be completed prior to installation of doors. So what you have to complete means you have to complete installation purposes, that you can't install door directly. Yes, subframes is fine, that has to be installed in position where your jamb is around jamb, and vertical jambs, as well as top where your door transom has to fix in. So block wall has to be completed, fixing of expanded material beadings to be completed, and inner walls services, whatever it is, electrical or something, plastering is done on after all services are completed, and plastering be or rendering it be, fixing of subframes, etc. all shall be completed prior to installation of this door, other doors, whatever. Jam shall be cleared of all particles, dust, debris. Doors shall be delivered full intact to site and counted. Now you can see inspection, etc. That's all required according to your plan. Surveyor shall mark lines and labels or locations requiring door fixings. Locations where fixing activity works shall not be allowed with journal entry. Arrangements shall be made at locations for carpenters to stand at door top level. One by one, locations shall be inspected for available site accuracy. Frames shall be separated temporarily from door shutters for fixing to subframes. Drill shall be made on frame, which frame is at 200 center, 200 mm, for fastening bars, screws to walls through roll plugs, embedment into either concrete blocks or RCC columns or walls. Wooden frames shall be positioned to plumb and lines at required lines. Frames shall be held to keep them upright and in line of requirement. Points marked for fixing screws shall be used to fasten screws into jambs or heads, and all screws completed. Doors shall be held in position for carrying out installation. Doors shall be held in position for carrying out installation once all screws are fastened. Once all screws are fastened, a review of position shall be made to ascertain correctness. Door shutters shall be fixed in position temporarily, and both items together ensured for correctness for sourceful or successful function, as if door should serve when permanently installed. Architrave beads shall be installed on junction of door frames and butting jamb or wall edge or fixed accordingly. All these items must reflect accuracy, fitness, and suitability of door movement without any error. Once complete item is fixed, wood or work of door installation shall be considered temporarily completed. Architectural inspection, etc. Door shutters shall be removed from frame for time being and preserved at some safe location unexposed to weather. These door shutters shall be refixed at completion of project and final fixing, which should require fixing of ironmongery also at that stage. Frame fixed shall be braced and protected fully from damages while work goes on site. You need power tools such as drills, etc. So just first, now I'm going to jump on to some excavation work, and that is building CCB underground, and this excavation area is required. Statement aims to excavate area for underground water tank foundation where one cable trench is passing 14 mm apart from one of longitudinal walls. So what to do in that? Underground water tank structural details, and these are specifications. So I'm not going to now going directly to safety. Saying what safety means: safety arrangements shall be made by installing barricades and night lights. Process involving a particular safety risk be calculated by job hazard assessment and necessary measures adopted to address risk issue. So that included measures comply with the requirement. Excavation has to be carried out in operating authority area, therefore all regulated precautionary measures shall be strictly adhered to, affect full safety standard. All safety precautions necessary during working on excavations, mass concrete forms, reinforcing bars, concrete pouring, etc. shall be applied to acceptable standards. Adequate safety measures shall be adhered to during lifting and offloading precast cubes for excavation site support to relevant locations, avoiding all mishaps by observing regulatory crane fitness requirements and validity of permit. Crane and trailer operators shall abide by all traffic rules while carrying out operations, and if so required, a banksman shall be engaged to direct movement. Crane shall not be operated during inclement weather conditions with dust storms. Only competent personnel shall be engaged to carry out operations. Safety supervision. A competent inspector shall visit site as usual and accordingly with now indicatively location not shown. This is now what to do with this. CCV sketch 20 is same as plant sketch, and 61, let me see what 61 is maybe important one. Let us see. Sketch 61, so it's same thing there. Let us see now in my work why I say management. It's sorry, Suraj first I have to reach, and then management. Here is management document. So it is method statements and chapters and sketches. the switches, and this is 61, I think it is, right? Or choice, whatever you want. This is CPU 61. Let's say 61 is CCB building, it is, I think. It's only building, also just building, and it's okay. This is CCB, so it's just CCB. Means I'm just showing you this building because it's given as a sketch, and it's a central control building, and this is shutters are only, nothing else in this. So, well, let's say it's not shown in this as well. And let's keep on moving and reading. Let's say, so sketch is there. Leave that. Setting out of tank area to be carried out according to coordinates and contractor inspection. Okay, safety barricades. Okay, fine, we shall do that. Safety barricades shall be provided according to requirement, and location of longitude walls shall be marked and excavation lines demarcated according to sketch attached to definition of details provided. Excavation shall commence from 3 side and continue to cable trench line following section. Okay, existing soil is stiff enough to be excavated to a vertical profile, but temporarily on cable trench site, precast concrete cubes 1 meter by 1 meter by 1 meter shall be used to retain earth pressure as shown on sketch. After cubes are placed in, further construction operations be carried out to drawings and specifications requirements. Cubes shall be used to act as support to forms as well as side to side. After cubes placement, further activities of tank construction shall be followed according to relevant drawings and specifications. We need excavator and truck. So let's go to epoxy flooring now. Let's close this also. It's not required now. This also I'm closing. So now it is a epoxy flooring buildings. It's very important item. Epoxy flooring. You know why this statement is how to carry out construction of epoxy flooring, that is 3 and 5 mm thick in buildings. It can be 1.3 or 1.5 also, that is painting actually. So 3 is flooring and 5 mm thick is flooring, 1.5 is painting. That's not given this. We have drawings and specifications, and we have definitions and responsibilities, all that. Safety is there. In this case chemical it is, so general safety applies, and access to area relevant wall covering lining. Installation shall be restricted to only involved personnel, means every person shall not be allowed access to area relevant wall cover lining. Installation shall be restricted to only involved personnel and remain restricted to all personnel after work has been completed. Safety supervision as usual. So we have material from master top. You can take your own material, doesn't matter. And applicators means for the special items, so we need applicators, or it's important, skilled applicators shall carry out this work. Manufacturers, instructor or demonstrator shall train a group of people, group of personnel on site for one room, and later remaining work of epoxy coating shall be carried out by this group who is trained by that manufacturer's instructor. So what is that actually? Surface preparation. One part is surface preparation, and other part is sealer mixing, and then it is mixing, and after laying, that's all it is. So we have to understand this. We have now surface preparation. Surface requires to be prepared for this purpose, and that we have to see surface preparation. Equipment installed shall be protected by covering with polythene sheet. Number 1. If we have installed some equipment or something, we have to protect them by covering both in sheath. Floor-based concrete shall either be grid blasted or scabbled or hacked or acid etched. Purpose is to remove latents from surface. Remove latents from surface. It can be done by blasting, that's grid blasting. It can be done by scabbling. It can be done by hacking, scabbling, hacking a seal, or by method of acid etching. Now etching requires 10% concentration hydrochloric acid HCl to be mixed with water for forceful application on RCC or concrete surface, followed by immediate washing out by water, which process roughens concrete surfaces. Border of portions to be applied. Border of portions to be applied with etching. Border of portions to be applied with etching are paper taped. Means wherever borders are coming, where you can't cross with etching. You have to keep them intact. You have to fix temporarily paper tape it, and for adjoining protection from acid scoring effects, so that whatever else material is there should not be impacted by hydrochloric acid. So border portions means wherever it is, all those borders they applied with etching are paper taped for adjoining protection from acid scoring effect. Benefit of etching is that it avoids scabbling or hacking. Means etching or scabbling or hacking, one of these three you have to choose. Etching is very fast. Hacking and scabbling takes time. Hacking or scabbling takes time. Surface shall be cleaned of all dust, dirt by brush or vacuum cleaner. Civil inspection prior to application of master top. Okay, whatever material, we are not supporting any material, this is of course written. So prior to application of material, prepared concrete surface shall be sealed by application of whatever required according to system. Sealer mixing. Sealer mixing. Base and reactor. We are talking of sealing. Base and reactor components shall be poured. It's after what? After resin application. As I say, prior to application of this material, prepared concrete surface shall be sealed by application of this material resin diluted to 5% solvent into number 2 as follows. Base and reactor components shall be poured into a mixing vessel and half a liter of solvent, number whatever is there. All these components be mixed using a slow speed drill with a paddle attachment for 1 minute. Sealer be applied at rate of 5 to 8 square meter per liter using a medium pile roller. Sealed surface shall be allowed to become tack free before application of material. Civil inspection to be conducted. And material shall be applied as follows. Now this was seal coat, now it's mixing of material. Reactor base on color pack. Reactor base and color pack components of material shall be poured into a vessel of 25 liter capacity. Components shall be mixed with a drill having paddle attachment until a uniform color is achieved. Now, given aggregate shall be slowly added to mixed component, keeping mixture running until mixture is of smooth and lump-free consistency. Mixed material shall be poured onto primed and sealed surface. Spread to 5 mm thickness in stores and warehouses and 3 mm thickness in other areas using a pin screed using a pin screed notched trowel or steel float. Immediately after spread of material to required thickness, rolling shall be carried out by a spiked roller to release entrapped air and remove travel marks. Rolling shall be continued until all air is released. And a uniform color obtained. Rolling shall again be carried out after 20 to 30 minutes. Rolling shall be continued until all air is released and uniform color obtained. Rolling shall again be carried out after 20 to 30 minutes. Operators shall wear spiked shoes when using spiked roller to walk on wet materials. Rolling shall cease before material begins to gel. Inspections shall be conducted. Material shall be removed from tools and equipment whilst still wet using cleaning solvent. Slow speed drill is required with suitable paddle, brushes, short nap hair rollers, grinder, spiked roller, pin screed, spiked shoes, and data sheet attachment. I also witnessed one epoxy floor demonstration in 1987, I remember, when I was in Doha, Qatar. We had to do 1.5 mm epoxy painting floor as well as 3 mm flooring in one of room in our one of many buildings. I also talked to that French engineer, that person. So what to do? Then I did same thing as is given here for painting. That's 1.5 mm paper tapes were stuck. Then we mix hydrochloric acid 10% concentration and applied and immediately washed. Did not wait. And it was well clear that latent was removed within minutes. We did not hold it against other structures. So when we started painting of 1.5 mm, same thing we did. All paper tape, ching, painting coat, and on that we spread this granular material to the spot and covered with that. Later cleaned other one. So it was that time. Now maybe many materials have come up, so that may not be required. I think method statements. We are moving into world of method statements with objective in mind, that to improve learning knowledge, to improve quality of items we do, we have to deal with this. And I think that's very important point in engineering applications and in quality and design construction. Without method statements, I can't say you can't do it, but you must have some documentation on whatever you do. You must have that documentation as well for others. I'm not saying this is a perfect way, but this is useful way. By deciding in advance what we are going to do is really presentable idea. There are so many ways that we can achieve quality, design, construction. All these are standards. We can do without method statements as well, but for that you must be pragmatic. You must have something in mind, and your people must be trained. For that purpose, I am doing all this, because you may have spent millions on small house, but if doesn't give any quality, then your money has gone to waters, to waste. Every time is said quality is very important, and if you don't comply with quality, you don't comply. Quality means you don't comply anything. That's very important point you have to understand. Quality can't be compromised. Designs and construction are quality oriented fields which must be cared for. Okay, we have to consider all these facts. Only then we can claim that we are achieving something. And if you can't, I can't, you can't, I promise you can never get quality. You can never get quality otherwise. You can never, never, never get quality. Because even if you want to get quality, if your intention to get quality, your people must be ready for that. Your people must accept that. And if you know to teach others or to teach from, or let's learn from others rather than stating to teach them, because everybody doesn't accept, they mind it sometimes. But it's not question of teaching or learning, it's question of engineering. Engineering can never be learnt in its entirety. Oneness in different minds of all 18 countries. What do we have to get from such statements? Way how to do job. And a successful way how to do job is construction engineering, or you can say active engineering. Active field of engineering. Everybody has different approach towards construction. One says one thing, other says second thing, and third says one thing. Important point throughout engineering is, particularly in construction engineering and civil engineering, that we do not know what would be designed, what would be required, time when it's going on. Methods in construction are very important. It's not because you may not know. Everybody working on that activity is It's always easy to say, I can do it. Yes, you can do it. When did you do it past? I did this. Once we understand how to do a job, half of job is over. If we can't design this, if we can't understand this, how to do job, you can never do job. You will make mistakes. Sequence is very important, and each sequence is important, not simply that. It's like chain. And if you don't understand technical work, you don't understand technical solutions, then it's no use that you are engineer there. You have to learn first. My dear friends, I'm not wasting your time this way. I'm just trying to advise that field engineering is different, concept is different, work is different, everything is different. We are not to be crazy, but we have to be practical in this regard. It's very, very different that we have to solve these problems ourselves. Nobody shall solve for us. That's a part of life. Think of, I'm putting thinking in there, the thing first. Thinking is very important. No out, you can go without thinking, being civil engineer. The root of civil engineer lies in thinking. Thinking and thinking, you may be whatever level of engineer, whatever qualification you have, whatever experience you have, your role lies in thinking and only thinking, nothing else. my dear, what we have to do? So I gone through many statements for your reference, all structural statements and of course finishing statements, testing statements, many more. This may help you, may not help you, I can't say, but all are useful. I can understand that very well. Should be done like that. You understand? And this I close this talk now. Thank